here we go, the attendees are arriving. Hi everyone, I would like to welcome you all to the Blockchain in Education event. We have Kelise Nabbin, Dimitrios Salampasis, Ingrid Volkmer, Joseph Liu and Austin Lewinsmith with us today. So that's my introduction, and take the stage, team.
Thanks so much, and thank you to everyone for joining in today. So just so you're aware, a couple of housekeeping things. Your microphones are on mute, but we would love to engage with you as much as possible. So please post questions in the chat and I'll do my best to throw to those once we have a little bit of a discussion. As well as that, the session is being recorded. So the title of this session is Blockchain in Education. And I guess the motivation for this session is starting with a few statistics. Data61 in 2019 identified a 200% year-on-year job growth in blockchain since 2015. More than half of that growth is non-technical skills, and we'll come back to that point. It's one of the top skills sought on LinkedIn, according to Burning Glass. The World Economic Forum has also found that it's a critical enterprise skill for graduated professionals as well. And it's a policy priority for the Australian government through their National Blockchain Roadmap and Digital Economy Task Force. So with that, I would love just to throw to each of our panelists for a brief introduction as to who you are and how you're associated to blockchain in education. I'll start with you, Austin.
Hi, thanks for that, Kelsie. It's a pleasure to be on this call today. I'm one of the co-founders of Blockchain Collective, also on the board of directors for Blockchain Australia for startups and scale-ups. Blockchain Collective, just really briefly, we developed the Diploma of Applied Blockchain with units in AI, Big Data, Advanced Diploma of Applied Blockchain. We've also got a third one that's coming out later this year, which is Applied Blockchain merging machine learning and AI. We really sit around the vocational education space, the critical thinking around the application. Just excited to be here. Thank you.
Excellent. Joseph, I'd love to hear from you next.
Hello everyone, I'm Joseph Liu from the Monash. I'm also the director of the Monash Blockchain Technology Center and also the course director for the Master of Cybersecurity. And today I'm very happy to share our experience on the blockchain education.
Excellent. Dimitrios.
Good afternoon. My name is Dimitrios Salampasis. I'm a lecturer of FinTech Innovation and Entrepreneurship at the Swinburne University of Technology. And I'm also leading as a director the Masters of Financial Technologies. And part of my teaching and research is on blockchain, particularly around its business applications and the emergence of new business models. And of course, I've been quite heavily involved in the development of new curricula around blockchain. So I'm very excited to be here with you and share my thoughts.
Excellent. And Ingrid.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Ingrid Volkmer. I'm professor in media communications, University of Melbourne. I'm working with blockchain issues in my day-to-day teaching on digital communication, globalization, but I'm also dealing with blockchain in my specific research lab, if you like, the International Digital Policy Lab that I've created, where we work with students on new debates in digital policy, and of course blockchain is part of that.
Excellent, thanks so much. So I think from what you've all already described so far, there's multidisciplinary perspectives towards blockchain education. And Dimitrios, I think you had a few views in terms of, or in regards to the question of how do you educate for blockchain? What does that actually mean?
Thank you. Look, within this 1 or 2 minutes, I'd like to share some of our key learnings around the fact on how do you actually build a blockchain curriculum and some of the realizations and I would say challenges we've been through. First of all, we all know that lots of universities at the moment and lots of educational institutions around the globe are paying a lot of attention to blockchain. A lot of research is also trying to emerge quite a lot because of the need of the industry for blockchain professionals with the knowledge and the skills to really mature the technology and bring it to a service transformation. Some of this is basically part of what education needs to do. So what we have experienced as part of this journey is the fact that the sheer breadth of blockchain and its association with a number of all these ever-changing developments that generate applications has also have a lot of economic, legal, societal, and ethical impacts that so far nobody has actually understood or actually mapped. It's a really fast developing, unstable, and also I would say, if I can use this word, unsolidified field, which makes it almost impossible to keep up with everything that is happening across the blockchain space. More also to bring that in class, which also, this is linked to a shortage of qualified faculty with true subject matter expertise, academic legitimacy to teach blockchain, and also at a level which, and you would normally teach an official pedagogical standard in a well-established field. Moreover, there's a big challenge to the fact that there are not really a lot of legitimate academic teaching resources, which also sometimes results or often results in the provision of, I would say, repurposed existing courses as blockchain that not necessarily meet marketplace needs, and only really few, and I'm glad that we see quite a few in Australia emerging at the moment, including ours. They're really developed on the ground of original content, real industry cases, and this immersive learning, bringing theory, practice, and engagement. And finally, this multidisciplinary nature creates what I would like to call an issue of domain ownership, with courses being offered across several academic fields of finance, management, IT, engineering, law, computer science, lacking really harmonized and widely accepted curriculum. So from our end, some questions that are actually seeking answers is, what do we actually mean by blockchain skills and blockchain education? So there is no real concise definition. I really think there is a massive need for blockchain education standards and accreditation. For example, we have universities offering degrees, micro-credentialing. There is also a lot of MOOCs. There are also vocational education. What is it actually acceptable for the market? What is valuable? And also, I really think that we're also going to potentially be looking across having different institutions being part of the value chain of delivery of blockchain education. I don't really think that a single institution can be across the entire life cycle. So we'll probably need a plug-in and play across multiple capabilities that consist of what we call a blockchain education. And I'm sure, and I'm very hopeful that Blockchain Australia can also support towards that direction and bring all these institutions together, that also we can have Australia become a leader in blockchain education, because I think there is a lot of capability, there is a lot of good will, and there is also a lot of knowledge and great scientists that can really foster this space. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, that's a really excellent point. And I think in saying that, I should also introduce myself. So my name's Kelise. I'm a PhD researcher at RMIT University in the Blockchain Innovation Hub there. But I'm also involved in the sort of social sciences perspectives of blockchain. And I guess I hope for the aim of this session, it's really to help people understand what some of the different options out there are, as well as the kind of strengths of certain offerings. So feel free to post in the chat in terms of what you're interested in. But I know for me, my blockchain education was very experiential, I guess, to start out with. And now I've gone backwards towards a formal sort of research investigation of the space. But I started with attending local meetups, and credit to Boki Pubar in Sydney, who's one of the earliest and best educators in the space in Australia, I guess, in some respects. And then working in the space. So I sort of learnt on the job. But Austin, I know the focus of some of what you do is really around sort of that vocational experiential learning. How do you work with people enrolled on that?
Well, we really saw, we started building a blockchain project about 4 years ago. And where we found the problem was with consultants we were hiring. So we saw, we actually commissioned a research piece and realized that there was two areas. There was the technical side of blockchain, the coding and going down that side, but then there was the application side, which is the critical thinking around applying, business principles to actually bring a project to life. And that's where the problem was that, a lot of people were using old thinking when you're talking new and emerging technologies that wasn't really relevant. So that's where the Advanced Diploma of Applied Blockchain was born, and then the Diploma of Applied Blockchain. We then licensed that curriculum to organisation, RTOs, colleges. Now it's actually there's things going on all over the world with it. But I guess the important thing there, and actually TAFE Queensland will be coming on shortly. It's just ended up on the funding list. But one of the things that I guess is was important for us was the outcomes for the students. So the students being able to actually be skills-based, career-ready, be able to go straight into the market and be considered blockchain strategists and experts in the field without necessarily having to have, I never went to university, so we wanted people that could actually come back and get upskilled or reskilled in emerging tech markets without having to spend years necessarily doing so. So that for us was a priority. Just the outcomes for students, being able to be, entrepreneurs picking it up, or people looking to get into the workforce, picking up, getting the skills and coming out highly employable.
Yeah, thanks for that. And are students actually building throughout the course of that education as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all project-based. So the students are actually being assessed on, on projects. So we've got students that are coming out and building all sorts of things. Just recently had one student come out and built NFTs all around the sports industry. We've had other students that are building stuff that are working on central bank digital currencies. We've got people working on all sorts of different things. And I guess that's the fact that they actually come out with a portfolio of workable content is one of the major things. Each unit that they're being assessed on is actually project based. So they're not coming out with the theory. They're actually having to get their hands dirty and get it done.
Yeah, excellent. I know RMIT's emphasis is really on that industry experience as well, and joining kind of, real projects. And I think a number of the institutions or providers represented here offer those kind of micro-credentials all the way up to sort of master's degrees.
Absolutely.
And vocational learning there as well.
Yeah.
You mentioned CBDCs, and Ingrid, I'm really interested in the social sciences sort of perspective on blockchain and how education in this space as it relates to policy and kind of broader global issues connects.
Yes, thank you. I would like to talk about perhaps a different perspective. So I know from Australia and from other parts of the world that blockchain is mainly associated with fintechs or other financial or specific financial services, with currencies, with technical issues. But I feel that we need a broader debate, and I'm speaking for myself too, in social sciences, to think about blockchain in teaching and research. If I would ask my students, they know about AI, they know about cloud computing, but if I ask them, do you know what blockchain is? I would get blank faces, and that is media and communications in my program. And I'm not just speaking for us, I'm speaking for other colleagues too. They just don't know what it is. It's still a bit of an insider debate, I must say. And listening to you, it's fascinating and it's highly interesting, but it's still a bit of an insider debate. And I feel we need to raise public awareness that blockchain does so many other things too. For example, in elections, blockchain is used in various countries across the world. And to prepare myself for this meeting, I just read that India is now trying to adopt blockchain for the general elections in 2024 in India, the world's largest democracy. But we still don't have enough research about citizens and their views of blockchain and their views of that technology, how they feel that technology protects their privacy, how they feel blockchain should be adopted. And I know also from Estonia, for example, that government services are using blockchain. So it's this new area, not just what we used to have B2B, P2P. It's now G2C, government to citizen. And actually, it's also citizen to government when we look at elections. So these are these new axes of communication where blockchain is used. But when I look at research, and I tap on my old shoulder, I must say, and on the shoulder of my colleagues as well, we are lagging behind, and I feel we have to improve this. We have to get up to it, because what we could do in social sciences and this sort of analysis, the risk assessment perhaps even of some sort of these blockchain applications, could help policymakers. And I must say, a big open gap I also see in policy making here in Australia. There are great attempts being made to create the blockchain roadmap and all that. I just taught in my subject on data governance this morning the GDPR in Europe, and if you look at the recent document in Europe, the global data, the data policy regulation, how they look at governance, they look at intermediaries and data protection and the governance of intermediaries. Now, what they mean by intermediaries are the platforms, but blockchain is a totally different type of perhaps intermediary that should be addressed in these forms of policy debates as well. And what we see is often that, I must say, policy debates sometimes lag behind too. They address privacy, they address platforms, but in a way that is no longer perhaps current, because we have new technologies now, and blockchain could disrupt that policy debate perhaps a bit. And that's what I feel should be done. We need to follow up on these things more in social sciences. And I also support what Dimitrios said, and I think others as well. We need to collaborate more. And I had on my list here for this little talk that we need to think about private-public partnerships. What is very successful in various other areas, initiatives successful in other areas. In universities, we are a bit too shy. We are too shy to ask colleagues for help, to help us understand certain areas. We are shy sometimes to invite industry, to invite technology. And I think we have to step up that debate in Australia, but also internationally, because Australia can't do this on its own. We need to have partners elsewhere in teaching and in research. And I feel collaboration is the key thing. And I totally agree with Dimitrios. Across all sectors, I'm open to all of that, to develop something new, of course, but also international, because we should learn from us internationally as well. And these are my 2 points, perhaps very general, but I think they might help us to get to the next stage. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for making those points. And I have to emphasize that one of the most dynamic and enjoyable sort of experiences of where I'm currently situated is that diversity of perspectives, and looking at how economists approach a topic to the lawyers, to the tax accountants, to the ethnographers that are looking at the cultural context, and then trying to produce kind of policy perspectives based on that. I saw a great question in the chat about what is the future of the decentralized disintermediated world. That's one thing that I get to look at in my research, which is coming soon. There's some great stuff by Ellie Rennie on Medium from my team as well on that. One thing that Ingrid touched on was the security perspectives of this technology. Joseph, I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you're taking people with technical expertise towards a blockchain education as well, with what you are offering.
I think this is a very good question, and also not just from you, I believe, also from the people in the industry, including myself, because in the past, our center, when I tried to hire a blockchain programmer, it is very, very hard to find a suitable person. So we receive more than 100 applicants, but we can only shortlist a very, very few. The main reason is, say, in blockchain domain, in technical work especially, so it is very, very hard to have the expertise with such experience. So if the people, they want to hire, no matter it's a blockchain startup or large company, if they want to implement a blockchain project, of course, they need to hire some technical blockchain people. But the point is, not many people, they have this kind of experience. So we discussed with the industry, and we are also one of the employer and also educator in Australia. So therefore, we target to develop some online short courses because of microcredential and blockchain. We hope to provide this kind of opportunities to the technical people. They have a very strong IT background or the computer science experience, but they may not have the knowledge in blockchain. So we hope we can provide this opportunity for them to enhance the capability, say from the normal IT perspective to the blockchain domain. They are technical people. So we just need to provide a short training, for example, only a few weeks should be good enough for them so that they can be a very, very good blockchain engineer as well. And on the other domain, we should also educate our young people, our young generation, which is our hope. But as far as I know, there are not many opportunities for young people, even in computer science, to learn blockchain from the university. So therefore, we will also target this group of students, and we are going to provide a hackathon, kind of self-learning opportunities for students. And more importantly, and I also agreed with Ingrid, so many people, they may just think that the blockchain is equal to cryptocurrency, is equal to Bitcoin, and that's it. But in fact, it's not the case. So our theme is the blockchain for social good. We hope to educate the young people that, okay, the blockchain is also good for example, the education, the energy, the digital health, and for example, the supply chain as well. So we provide this opportunity to let students to choose one of the theme and provide a blockchain platform. This is a self-learning opportunity, and hopefully, if they have participated in this kind of activities, is a kind of a bonus to the CV and also a bonus to our blockchain community.
Thank you so much for sharing your perspectives on that. I think from our discussion so far, we've absolutely highlighted that this is a multidisciplinary field, that it's technical and non-technical. So we're looking for people with technical skills or to understand the shape of the thing, as well as people that can provide business strategy. It's formal and informal. I think universities running hackathons is excellent. I also think there's incredible international hackathons that are publicly available in the community, in the blockchain space as well. And then it's long-term and short-term and potentially for kind of young graduates or working professionals to sort of go back and upskill. One of the questions in the chat was education. Clients want education as well as work experience from Floor. How do we bridge this gap? I think across multiple perspectives represented today, there is a lot of industry experience and industry engagement weaved throughout the courses. I know RMIT does electives in their Masters of Blockchain Education, and there's sort of that startup experience with real projects and a lot of the Australian projects. Given the time that we have left and 102 people listening, I would love to cover off on people that are looking to continue their blockchain education. There was a question around what government funding is available for education in this space. And I'd also love to throw to the panel on I guess people getting hired out of their educational experience. So I know that I'm sure all of us are kind of geared to people being sort of employable as a measure of sort of the success of their blockchain education from an institutional perspective. So perhaps beginning with any funding for education?
Well, I can start talking to that. We've just got added two of our courses, the Diploma and Advanced Diploma of Applied Blockchain, just got added to the VSL funding list. The first provider's expected to be taking enrolments, I'd say, in the next week or so. I can't actually give too many details on that, but it'll be out there over the next week or so, and then kickoff will be about within about a month or so after that. But that's vet student loans. That's definitely one place to start for funding. As far as sorry, go anyone else on funding?
No, please. Employability. Go for it.
Employability's been we've actually been trying to hire people ourselves coming out of the course. We've actually hired a number of people back that have come back as trainers. As Dimitrios was saying before, one of the major problems is actually having the people with the skills to be able to actually go out there and train. So we've been having people come through, get their TAEs, and then actually going back and teaching and training at the RTOs and colleges, and people preparing for TAFE. I've also had people coming through that have had masters in IT, others masters that have come through upskilled. One of them's been hired as global blockchain lead from a very well-funded company. they're running events, those grassroots events that you were talking about, all over Australia now, being run by students, and then obviously there's lots of other opportunities there. So I'll let someone else jump in there, because there is, to be honest, I think it's the employability. There's a huge amount of employability out there. Everyone on the panel said they're looking for people.
That's a great point to anyone watching along this session. Feel free to reach out to any or all of us. I know RMIT Online or our LinkedIn profiles for each person is listed here. But if you are in the space and you want to then come back into education as kind of an industry expert, there is ample opportunity for that. What about demand as well? What are the different perspectives on demand for blockchain education that you've each experienced?
I think in terms of demand, that is on all aspects, ranging from the first graduate level to the experienced manager level. We still need the people with the blockchain experience, no matter it's a technical one or management experience. But the point is, it's very hard for us to find such a suitable person. So that's why that brings in the importance of the blockchain education in Australia.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the comments in the chat here.
Kelise, may I just jump in for a second? Just one comment, that I feel that blockchain education should go broader and not only focus on, getting people a job. So I really believe that blockchain is a human technology, is a technology of the people. So if we don't raise awareness of the technology itself, because it's a technology that is driven on a philosophical conundrum around decentralization and disintermediation, and that's easily said than done. And people that just don't really understand what that means. So if we don't raise awareness to the people, that will not even lead to the professional sides of the technology and the blockchain education itself. So it's the education side for people to become upskilled and get a job, but it's also the awareness side. I know, for example, that my students come to my units and they want to learn only around cryptocurrency. And when we open them to a new world, they say, oh my God, I was never aware of any of this. Yeah. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done into the awareness and the solid, informative way of actually bringing all this stuff on board.
Can I also
that's an excellent point.
Can I make a comment on this too, Kelise?
Please,
Yeah, thanks. I would, also say we need to broaden, not just focus on technology. And we might, for this purpose of this discussion, we might call that contextual capacity building. For example, in journalism training, we should include blockchain, because blockchain applications help to identify fake news or help to prevent fake news even. So there are totally new areas and professional areas where blockchain could be used, and those professionals in those areas, they wouldn't necessarily know, and our students need to know when they study these areas. So I feel that there is something to be said about demand as well. So demand is, yes, for the high-tech people, of course, absolutely, but also for people who work in specific professional areas and need to be aware of opportunities blockchain offers to them.
Yeah, I'm so glad you picked up on that point, Dimitrios. There's a bit of a stick and carrot about employability, because there is much broader kind of philosophical and then societal sort of underpinnings and implications of this. So I'm aware this Zoom is going to automatically stop in 1 minute. I would like to thank Our Ground Foundation for supporting this session to be possible, and just to encourage anyone in the chat to please use LinkedIn or whatever, not whatever means necessary, but whatever public channels are available to find us, to reach out, ask questions, loop back over this conversation about the different kind of emphases and advantages of different offerings. But there's a lot of depth here to continue to explore, and I'm really interested as a Director of Blockchain Australia to continue to connect with people in the education space, specifically around what this looks like as a kind of coordinated and strength on strength effort going forward. That's a dangerous question. Someone has just asked, do the courses accept Bitcoin for payment? Feel free to post a public address and test that one out. So thank you to each of our panelists for joining, and thank you so much to Blockchain Australia for coordinating this session and making it possible.
Thank you.
Yeah.